What up, G?
What's up, my man?
Anthony Woods in the building, man.
Good to see
Dude,
you,
hey,
dude.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Welcome to the Parables, dude.
Oh, man, I appreciate you having me, man. I'm really excited to be here.
Dude, man, I know it was raining, and I know you were doing a little business.
Yeah.
Driving, and you drove from where again?
Monterey,
Monterey,
yeah.
Monterey, man. You're doing
Monterey's
some
home.
business down here. I'm glad I was able to squeeze you in, dude.
Man, squeeze me in. Dude, I told you when I saw you a couple weeks ago, if I could get down here, I'd make a point to make it a priority.
Yeah, I appreciate
so
that, man.
I'm working on your schedule for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. So this is Anthony Woods, man, three-time, and correct me if I'm wrong, three-time IFBB Olympian,
Yes,
pro
sir.
Olympian.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And dude, me and Anthony, shout out to Billy Go Fresh, who was a past guest on the Parables.
Yeah.
We were able, me and Anthony met not too long ago, almost like 2 weeks now.
Right.
We were at the event Conversation About Content, which is now Level Up Society, and got
Great
to meet
stuff.
Anthony, and I was just like, dude, I gotta have this guy on my podcast, man. This is a sharp dude. Let alone I got to train with them too. So I was like, oh man,
I appreciate that, man. It's hard to hear that kind of stuff.
yeah, dude.
I
So,
appreciate it.
dude, it was actually, not gonna lie, bro, I was actually very surprised, man. Like when I got to know you, and then actually when you actually spoke on our the fitness panel, dude. I was
Appreciate
like, dude,
that,
this is a sharp cat, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah,
That,
dude. Like, you
means
know
a
what I'm
lot to
saying?
me.
Like, I think sometimes, like, a lot of people, you know, who are in fitness, they get this false impression about them where people outside just like, oh, he's just like, they just lift.
Sure,
They're all
sure.
about muscle and protein and shit. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
but there's obviously more to everyone else.
Sure.
You know, there's more to you, of course. You know what I'm saying? And I think
so.
And I think actually every personal trainer or anyone in fitness are probably some of the best entrepreneurs that I know.
I agree. I think there's something about the degree of persistence and the degree of tenacity that comes with rising in the fitness industry that is really easily transferable to a lot of different, avenues. You know?
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. So, dude, like, you know, what I like to do here, obviously, you've listened to a few of the podcast episodes.
Sure have,
right?
dude. I'm a fan.
I appreciate that, dude. And by the way, guys, before I forget, we're gonna repeat this at the end, but my man over here is gonna be starting an incredible podcast. I'm gonna be helping him out with that. But you guys better be sure to subscribe to this thing because he's gonna be doing something a little different, and I guarantee you, I'm pretty sure it's gonna catch a lot of fire. It's gonna be one of the best podcasts out there.
Appreciate it. Doing my best.
So, man, yeah, dude, I got you, man. So, dude, let's talk. Let's talk about your upbringing. Let's get to know you a little bit. You know,
Sure.
I know you, but
Sure.
obviously my audience doesn't.
Sure.
Let's get to know you, like where you grew up and kind of where everything's led to what you do right now.
Sure. So, this is hard for me. I'm gonna say this before I begin. Like, I'm a pretty introverted guy naturally. You know, so first of all, hearing like these things about myself is really, really difficult. So I start like right. But talking about myself in a lot of respects is challenging. So I'll do my best. But I grew up in Tracy, California. I was a basketball player all the way through college, and a really skinny kid. You know, really athletic kid. Learned really quickly that I had to get stronger if I wanted to succeed in basketball. And so I didn't dabble in drugs, didn't dabble in alcohol. It wasn't really about any of those things. Girls and basketball was about the focus at that point.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Girls and hooping.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I was always academic. I really appreciated school. I felt really home in academia, and just to be able to absorb different things and learn different perspectives. I appreciated that really early. And got to college, and when I realized in college, I learned really, really quickly that I like training more than I like actually playing. Basketball was fun because I was good.
Yeah.
But I didn't appreciate basketball, and I didn't have a passion for it enough to dedicate time to really sharpen my skills.
That's interesting. I know a guy just like that who said, yeah, I'm good in basketball, but I don't like it. And I always found that hard to understand. I'm like, really? Like, how can you not like something that you're good at? But then I get it too,
Sure.
because same thing with me with nursing.
It's an interesting dichotomy. It's an interesting dichotomy to be good at something that you don't have a passion for.
Yeah.
Especially when you're appreciated for that thing.
Uh-huh.
And you're almost encouraged to act out that thing that you don't have any really passion to drive you to do that. It's bizarre.
Yeah,
It's bizarre.
So going back a little bit, were you always athletic and kind of into sports? I know you were into basketball,
Sure.
but obviously I would imagine you're into hooping at a young age too.
Yeah.
But were you always just like the athletic guy also, or did you were there other things that you were interested in, like like art? Because I find like the most
Sure.
like curveballs finding
Sure.
out about people. Like they have like all these interests that people don't know about.
Yeah. So that's also something I just started really becoming like super comfortable talking about. Like, but I'm completely submerged in art. Every way, every possible way. Even in consuming music, I listen to music every day. I sleep to music. I read to music. I obviously train to music. I drive to music. But I can't even appreciate the music until I understand the artist behind the music. So I'll listen to interviews. I'll figure out if the music is authentic to the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Can't appreciate it. No matter how good the music is, right? Sonically,
Yeah.
I can't really appreciate the authenticity behind the sounds.
Do you have like a hidden like mixtape or a song in SoundCloud somewhere
Man,
that we don't know about?
Straight up, I make a mixtape, or I make a mixtape like every other day.
Yeah?
Every other day.
Word?
Just about.
Okay, I gotta get that out of you. You know, one time I was actually on a podcast and I dropped the flow at the very end. I surprised them.
Might have to hear it, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put a pressure on you, man. We are on mics, you feel me?
Man, got the pathwater ready.
Yeah. But dude, so okay, so you were into basketball,
Very.
and then you know, again, you quickly realized that you had to succeed in basketball. You got to get a little bigger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and in the process, so you know, I again very introverted, and I didn't go out and do a whole lot of things, but I was always in the gym, and I was really young, training in the gym. I started training when I was about 12, 13. And so in shape, 11th Street, Tracy, California, I would walk these railroad tracks and try to sneak in there. I didn't have a membership at the time. I was too young. Parents weren't going to get me one at the time. And so...
Like gym membership?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So I would try to sneak in this gym, and the days I could get in there after school, I was in there till they closed. I wasn't sure if I could get in the next day, but during the days I couldn't get in, I would just be there trying until... You know, I just gave up and would walk back home. And so early at that point, I was just like in the gym at that age, learning and looking around and, you know, observing really bad habits, right? But habits nonetheless, and realizing that people were there consistently. So you observe those habits too. And so I'm picking up exercises. I'm picking up movement patterns. I'm understanding how to contract certain muscle groups without really understanding what I'm really learning at the time. And so when I get older and I'm beginning to realize that I can kind of manipulate my body and mold the clay, as I like to say, and kind of emulate my favorite comic book characters, because I was obsessed with comics.
That's right.
Obsessed.
You did mention that.
Obsessed.
Like superhero powers.
Oh
or
my
something
God.
Like, that, right?
Oh man. Cerebrally, like in a way where like I was beginning to transfer the trials and tribulations of, or even the origins of certain characters. I was beginning to like play those out in my life, or beginning to see the parallels in my life. So if you think about any comic book character you can really name, most of the things that we appreciate, or the things that we celebrate them for, they come from tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrible tragedy, all of it. And so that really, really helped me understand how to cope with tragedy in my own life at a really, really young age. You know, and so not only was I understanding, you know, like psychologically how to cope with things I couldn't control, I was attaching images to them. Right. So the strong people in my mind that were strong emotionally were also strong physically. In the comic book. Yeah. And so it was very, very easy to culminate all together my appreciation for art, my appreciation for comics, my love for music, all these things they come together. And so bodybuilding is just art. It was art for me, and that's why it all kind of came together pretty fluidly, pretty easily.
If you don't mind me asking, and we don't have to go that deep, but what were what tragedies, or what are some of the things that you were facing that you felt that, you know, you were able to translate into that, you know, again, using that concept of, you know, the comic book character?
Sure. Aggression. You know, I'd always had like, you know, issues with learning how to properly channel, appropriately channel, effectively channel aggression. Right. So you find ways of lashing out, and human beings find ways of coping. They're just not always healthy ways of coping, but everyone's going to cope. Yeah. Right. So learning how to cope with those things, obviously, self-identity and figuring out who you are as a male, and figuring out who you are as a male, a man of color in a certain ways, or just identity in all respects. You know, I think there's a really big deal with understanding how to express yourself in a healthy way. Yeah. Right. So those are the things I was kind of learning to deal with through art, and then without really understanding, I was learning how to cope with life through exercise and through bodybuilding.
Yeah. It sounds like you're kind of like going through like this phase of like trying to find like your identity, but then you had like these other outlets. Like
Absolutely.
you said, like lifting,
Sure.
exercising, the art, the music, and things like that.
Oh yeah.
When you started lifting, did you like, because every person I know who got into fitness, there was always like, they had like this moment, like they had a mentor, they had like someone that just kind of like, someone you idolized. And you spoke about superheroes, but was there
Sure.
like an actual person that kind of like, you know, helped you during those times when you started to get into training and all that stuff? Or was it just like you being in there on your own?
So the way that I approach that is really similar. Nobody's ever asked me that question. It's really bizarre. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're getting me to think about things in ways I never thought about. So
That's what I do, baby.
you're doing it, man. You're doing. So I appreciated comic books and the characters in those comic books because everyone was appreciated for something. Even the villains had something special about them. They brought something to the table.
That's what made them different, right?
Yeah, even the villain had a story too. He wasn't just a villain for nothing, right? I mean, you almost had a sympathetic reason to appreciate a villain, right? So, even in bodybuilding, I would find Dorian has something to bring to the table, right? Dexter has something to bring to the table. Sean Roden something to bring to the table. Where when I was training certain muscle groups, I would appreciate that body part on that human. And then I would investigate how that person trained that body part, and then it would all kind of be one unison. So I would have like a Legion of Doom, so to speak, in bodybuilding, that I appreciate them for certain things that they would bring in a way.
Yeah, yeah. When you got into training, or actually, I want to go back because you said that you were introvert. And
Super.
Super introverted, right?
Yeah.
So did you struggle because you went from high school, and obviously you said you went to college and then you started training. Was it a hard transition starting to open up, or was training or the fitness industry kind of like your breakthrough as far as like, starting to open up a little bit and showing who you are?
Honestly, it was a way to find a mask in a way.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, kind of we were talking earlier how you can be appreciated for something that you may not have an apparent passion for.
Yeah.
I could be appreciated for what I could build and be quiet. That's why this podcast and me kind of beginning to dive into those types of things is a really big therapeutic thing for me.
Yeah.
Because Instagram is easy. I can post a photo and be very, very quiet, and I'm easy. It's easy for me to do that. I'm comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you know me personally, we can speak. I love to. I'm a conversationalist. I can talk, and I love to.
Yeah.
I think I'm super cerebral, but I don't always appreciate like expressing who I am to everybody at all times. I was always brought up to believe that everyone deserves to know you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was sports and fitness is a way to learn how to become open and learn how to open up.
Yeah.
But it was also a way to see that I can be appreciated for something and not tell anybody who I am, and it'd be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's interesting because you could be on Instagram, you could be posting all this content,
Sure.
and people would just have this assumption like, oh man, this is probably like the most loud or
Sure.
fun or silliest dude. But like
Yeah.
you said, you could be silently being the quiet guy, but just putting out like dope content, man.
Yeah. I never really had any issue with being, perceived as the musclehead,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with that to a degree, to a degree.
Yeah.
And then I'm becoming I'm growing as a human, and I'm understanding my place and my purpose and my abilities to do certain things and my responsibility to do things in a way too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I definitely feel like we can do some good things.
Yeah. So when you got into training, man, where did that lead you to? So you went into college. What was like your focus in college? Was it
Psychology?
Psychology. Okay.
Yeah. So I took psychology all the way from sophomore year high school. Shout out to Miss Matthews. She changed my life. Miss Matthews, I know you're gonna see this. I'm gonna send this to you on Facebook. She changed my life. I was super conflicted at that point in my life, and she just gave me all these questions that I couldn't find answers to.
Mm-hmm.
And
conflicted as far as your direction, or just
everything.
Okay.
As a person, as a son, I was conflicted.
Okay.
As a brother, I was conflicted. As as a friend, I just didn't know where I was going. And I felt like I had this place and I could go anywhere.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like I could go anywhere. I just didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And so that alone, the way that I looked at stuff, thinking divergently and all these different possibilities, I just didn't know what to do. It was frightening. So she made it more frightening and just threw all these questions at me that I couldn't find ways of answering. And what that did is it made me realize I didn't know who Anthony was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to know who this guy is, because nothing's going to make sense unless I know who this guy is.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything filters through my perception. If I can't rectify it, or if I can't rationalize the way I perceive things, I'm just walking around with a gun, and loaded gun. I know where to aim it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to perceive things.
Yeah.
So I fell in love with psychology sophomore year of high school, and I graduated with a psych degree.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Dude, that's awesome, man. It was crazy as something you just said. Sometimes the hardest questions are probably the most valuable.
Absolutely, man.
Right?
I believe that thoroughly. Like even in the hardest times, it seems like the most valuable lessons, if you just attach your mind to the idea of value, $, right?
Yeah.
They cost things. Things of the most value usually hit your pocket the hardest. They cost the most.
Mm-hmm.
So the lessons that are the most valuable probably cost the most too, right? The most valuable lessons you can learn probably cost you some tears.
Yeah.
Probably cost you some pain.
Yeah.
Probably cost you some sadness, right? It's going to cost you some stress.
Mm-hmm.
The lessons that are invaluable, the ones that you can just throw away, probably going to cost you much. Probably won't cost you any time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won't cost you a whole lot of sleep.
Yeah.
But the ones that are valuable, the phantom of lessons, right? The mansion of lessons, the G4 of lessons is going to cost you.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to pay that, you ain't going to get the lesson.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those of us who are willing to walk through that and earn the lesson are going to earn the G4,
yeah,
whatever that is.
The exchange comes in all different types of forms, like you said, you know what I'm saying? And that's what people don't realize. Yeah. So you got your degree in psychology.
Yeah.
So during that time in college, though, like it sounded like you had a lot of questions. You were trying to find your direction. You got your degree. Were you still training at that time? Let's talk about, again, where did your path take you from there?
So I've always trained, and that's one of the things I don't know how to really say it. It's in the back of my mind, if there's ever any idea where, what am I doing, or do I need to try something else? I get those moments at times.
Yeah, everyone does.
It's the one thing, no matter what was going on in my life, good, bad, right, wrong, up, down, I was always in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I always was there. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
And you were at this time, you're just training, just working
that
was your outlet.
Yeah, like it's like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Like you don't wake up and go, do I want to?
You got to.
You just before you know it, you're done.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things where it was so consistent. I didn't even notice I was in the gym for like 20 some years. 13. I'm about 34 in May. I can't think of a time where I stopped longer than like a week or two. For something. Never been injured or anything like that. So, the whole time going through college, I just was learning how my body worked without necessarily doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's like the most effective way to learn something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have to put your body through those trials and those, the pain and sometimes injury too, right?
Yeah. It takes time to see what works, and it just takes time to see how your body responds to things. So, I didn't know I was doing that, but I was like just trying things out. For years.
I identified right now, you probably had a major edge because you think about it, you got a degree in psychology,
sure.
But then here you are learning about your body and the physicality and all that stuff. Sure. So you almost had the best of both worlds.
Right? I didn't realize that until maybe about a couple years ago. I'll tell you why, because I've never had any formal education in terms of like in college, in terms of like how the body works. I was always about philosophy. I took Africana studies. I took women's studies. I took theater class. Just things. I was always about like how the mind works, how my mind works. I wasn't in school to learn anything about like. I didn't want to sit down and be a therapist. I was like, I gotta figure this dude out, man. Like before I like released myself to the world, I gotta know who I'm.
Before I can work on you, I gotta work on myself.
Internal dialogue.
Yeah.
Like how do you speak to yourself?
Yeah.
People don't really consider that. And a lot of times people are the worst person to themselves. You talk the worst to yourself. You're the worst friend.
Yes.
All the time. So I'm like, I need to know this dude really, really, really well. So when he flips out, I could check him. In a way, that's kind of the way I was like kind of going about it. But so that's kind of I didn't think I had the best of both worlds, but I understood the mind. And in training, it's all the mind. It's all tricking the body to do what the mind wants it to do. Like how do you perceive pain?
Yeah.
How do you perceive stress? Constantly when I'm training, it's a conversation. It's an interaction between the the stress I'm trying to put the body under, and then my ability to control the body under that stress. So it's a
repeat that.
I don't even know what it's a conversation, right? So some days I'm in the gym and we're working together.
Yeah.
120 is working really well with me. It understands what I want it to do. It's going to do what I ask it to do. It's not resisting me very well. And usually it's because I did my due diligence and I'm controlling my diet. I'm controlling my sleep. So, it's like if you're walking some pit bull and you haven't done your job working on your vessel, the pit bull might lose you.
Yeah.
But if you handle yours, you can handle it, and it'll respect you in return. Right. So a lot of times I approach training that way, but that's all mental. That's all mental. I'm under stress, and I'm considering my control under that stress, and then I apply that or I attempt my best to apply that to life. Tons of stuff I can't control. Can't control it. The one thing I can always control is my effort.
Yeah.
That's the exercise.
Your drive.
Yeah. Like
the hard work.
You're gonna have a crappy day, man. Everybody has that.
Yeah.
But if your shitty day is 100 because your effort's there, then where are you at on your best day?
Yeah.
You don't have shitty days if your shitty day is 100.
Yeah. You could wake up with a shitty day, but it's how you take action from it. What do you do with it, right? You could leave it a shitty day, right? Or you could do something about it.
Straight up.
Yeah. Dude,
perception. It's all perception. And that's what I appreciate with psychology. Like that's when I realized that I did myself a solid when I didn't, I had the best. When I say the best of both worlds, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself an athlete. I don't consider bodybuilding a sport. Not to me.
Interesting.
It's in my mind. It's a performing art thoroughly, and I'm performing an exercise. So if I get under the bar, me and my training partner Katie, when I get under the bar, I'm performing something. So I set my feet from the floor up. I set my feet. If you're performing something and it's not to standard, you can perform a salsa incorrectly. There's a standard to it.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
And the ones who do it the best can put pizzazz and put passion and put beauty behind that standard.
Yeah.
So I'm performing an exercise, and it's an action. It's an art form. That's the way I pose. That's the way I train. And it's hard for me to make it a sport. For me, I'm not competing with anybody.
Damn, that's crazy.
Usually, don't tell my coach that.
But I keep saying it's crazy because a lot of people see it as a sport. They see it like, yo, I am an athlete.
Oh, I think there are athletes that are definitely on stage for sure.
Yeah.
But if you get LeBron James playing chess against D Wade, chess isn't a sport, is it?
Yeah. Well, I guess it just depends on the perception.
Sure,
right?
Perception.
Yeah.
All perception. Perception.
But I think I like what you said, because technically, when you train, it's a craft, it's a technique, it's a skill, it's an art. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
for me,
for all that to come together, the way you look at it, and that plays in your mindset, and the way you approached it, that's like, not a lot of people just kind of, I almost feel like it's routine. Like people just do it just because they almost feel like they have to.
Sure.
Or like, it's like, okay, I got to be healthy. Let me just do it.
Absolutely.
But there's actually more to that.
Yeah. Dude, I enjoy what I do. It brings me joy, dude. Like, I don't do it for any other reasons. It sounds bizarre, but I'll ride with that. I'll die with that statement. Like, I did it when it cost me money. I did it before MySpace.
Yeah.
Before I did it when no one brought a camera in the gym. It was like, you brought your phone in, bro. This guy got his phone in. Like, I did it before it was I do this because it makes me happy. Yeah. I'm the happiest person. Like, I got this thing where before I even speak to someone, I wake up in the morning, I eat my meal, and I'm in the gym before I even interact with a human being. I don't even like to speak to anybody because I don't believe I'm my best Anthony until I can get that taken care of and take care of myself in that fashion. And then I feel like I'm giving EJ the best version of myself. I do this because it makes me happy. Yeah. It's a double that I've been able to do things and be able to progress in that way. But if I'd never progressed physically in any way, I'd be in the gym tomorrow morning, straight up. It does something for me mentally. Yeah. Far greater than anything physically.
Can you describe that? What is it? So first off, I like how it sounds like you have like a little routine, almost like you do like a little meditation.
I try. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I call it. Yeah. People laugh at me, but like, I train. We go hard every day. We go to work, but I go in with myself, and I'll do certain things to get my mind ready for life in general. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So
for me, for instance, I like to sometimes hype myself up because I personally believe you have to be your own inner hype man.
1,000 times.
No one's gonna hype you up more than yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I almost feel like sometimes like this might sound freaking crazy.
I hope so. I love it. I love crazy. Give me crazy, man.
I sometimes will look in the mirror and straight up be like, yo, dude, you ready to go to war today? Like whether that's the gym, whether that's, entrepreneurship, whether that's, I don't know, just anything. Bro, anything to tackle the day.
Absolutely. I do the same.
Okay. So that's kind of like your routine. Like
I talk to myself all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying like the power of internal dialogue and knowing who you're talking to and who, like I've got brothers that are different than me.
Yeah.
And I know that if I talk to Dejan will give me Dejan's perspective.
Yeah.
If I talk to Matt will give me Dejan's perspective. If I talk to Brian will give me his. Mm-hmm. So I know who to speak to, and I also know who I'm hearing from.
Yeah.
If you don't know who you're hearing from, how do you know what you're listening to?
Yeah, it's true.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Right. So I talk to myself all the time because I know how to hype I know what to say to myself, kind of how to listen to who that person is.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I'm just identifying now too. Sure. Man, I'm just full of identifications today, aren't I?
You're the man, dude.
Dude, you're like your own superhero. Because if you think about it, don't all superheroes talk to themselves?
They do.
Spider-Man, Batman, right?
Yeah,
they have like this internal dialogue, bro.
You're right, they do.
Dude, that's crazy. See,
I'm taking that with me. I'm taking that with me, dude.
Yeah, dude, right? Dude, hey, make that into a caption, brother.
I'm about to. I'll give you credit.
So, dude, obviously, so you were training and you were just doing it as a hobby. When did it become like almost like a business, a career?
I'll let you know when it starts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You still don't think it's there yet?
No. I dance with that. I dance with that idea. I think from myself and the way that my mind works, it's a dangerous thought a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just so the way that I perceive what I do.
Okay.
And what like how I'm driven.
Yeah.
I'm not really driven by anything like monetary.
Yeah.
And I have some friends that got a lot of numbers in their accounts, man.
Yeah.
I know them very, very well.
Yeah.
And I know that they're not fulfilled in certain ways that I'd like to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know, man. I've got, two very beautiful sons that I think about every day, right? Yeah. And they're more important than me. And so being in that state of mind, I just have my priorities set up in a really, really particular fashion. Mm-hmm. And so when I tie business and certain things into something that I hold so dear, bodybuilding and training.
Yeah.
Not even, and I don't mean competitive bodybuilding. I mean what I do in the gym is what I truthfully live for.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in like what I live for, but like it brings me a really serious happiness that I haven't found any other way.
Yeah.
I'm really, that's a connection that I want to make. It's very, very secure in a right way. I don't want my passion to be an obligation. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want the things that make me the happiest to be tied into I guess I gotta go.
Yeah.
And do it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I'm doing pretty cool in certain ways, and I've been super, super, super fortunate to do this. This is like I haven't even dreamed of doing stuff like this. This blows my mind that you're interested in what I even want to say. It's crazy to me.
Oh, bro.
Right? Yeah. No lie. Crazy to me.
We'll do it like, because I only bring that up about the business part of it because, of course, there's a huge market there. But also, you're traveling. Yeah. You're doing a lot of appearances.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I almost feel like we're just getting you're barely scratching the surface of where you want to take yourself. Like, sure. Anthony, maybe not even your business. Let me rephrase that. Maybe just bringing you out of who you are.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think I'm learning how to open up in certain ways. You know, I love talking to people. I love being around people. Mm-hmm.
That's why you're going to be a great podcast host, by the way.
I do this.
That's the reason why I do this. I love conversations. That's like my joy.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because you know what it is, dude. We learn so much about each other. You being a guest, you start to learn stuff about yourself because of the host.
Yeah.
And I just did a podcast earlier before this, and I was the guest, and I love it too because every podcast host is different, and then they just start to bring up all this stuff and highlight things. I'm like, you know what? I never even thought about that.
The exchange.
Yeah. It's the exchange, man. And dude, that's why you're gonna be. I think the more you open up and people get to know who you are, dude. I'm a fan of yours. You know what I mean? Like I'm a fan. and I love the energy. And like I said, when I finally got to know you, I'm like, okay, like this guy's cool, man.
Oh man,
I didn't like what Eugene, who's behind the scenes, said. Like, man, he's like big as hell, but he's like a grizzly bear, a teddy bear, or something.
I don't see that. I don't see that at all, dude. I really it trips me out when I hear that. I don't see that. I still see, you know, like the puny kid in high school. Yeah, you know, and that's kind of something that, you know, me and my friends, we always talk about that kind of idea of being okay with internal. I want to say internal inadequacy. I want to say it like that. Okay. Like, it's okay to know that you're not where you want to be.
Of course.
I won't say you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Right. That's an entirely different state of mind.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But it's okay to like wake up and be like, I'm not where I want to be, or I'm not where I need to be, or I'm not where I'm trying to be, or whatever it is. And you're trying to, you know, whatever, however you like to verbalize that.
Yeah.
As long as whatever that comparison is you.
It's still you.
Yeah. Right. Like, if you're waking up and you're like, man, look where I'm at right now, and look where Ant Woods is at right now. Mm-hmm. Like, stop that. Mm-hmm. Like, unfollow me right now.
Yeah.
Like, take your phone out and unfollow me right now. Like, that's not what this is. Like, unfollow me right now. Unfollow anybody else that you're doing that to. Like, yeah. It's okay to like measure yourself up to things and shoot for things, as long as that thing is a version of you. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Because otherwise you're chasing something that you have no idea, or like you don't know my struggles or anything that I'm living with, so you can't really say that you can measure yourself to it. Yeah. You know. See, the problem is a lot of people, what you're talking about is a comparison theory. Sure. Some people use it incorrectly. Sure. You could use it as a motivator or a drive, right? To be like, man, Anthony's killing it. Sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he motivates me. There you go.
I want to be the best version of me, but I'm taking the inspiration and drive and the elements of Anthony and applying it to me.
That's how you word that.
Or you could eat yourself alive and be like, man, why can't I be like Ant? Why can't I be like him? Why are my muscles not growing like him? Or, you know, whatever it may be. Yeah. You know, so why am I not smart like him?
It's dangerous. It's a really dangerous way to ask yourself things. It's a really dangerous way to look at yourself.
Mm-hmm. But I think something important you said too also was that, you know, it's okay to wake up and realize I'm not where I want to be. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have trouble doing that. Sure. Accepting.
There it is. Yeah.
Accepting that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's okay to identify that I'm not where I want to be, but you know what? I'm still trying to figure that out. Mm-hmm. But at least, you know, I'm working towards it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Let's talk about when you started to get in. So you were training.
Correct.
And then what got you into the idea of competing?
Okay, so let's see. These are weird stories that I haven't really been able to think about. I haven't thought about them and I've really verbalized them in a long time. Mm-hmm. So, what year was this?
Did you ever want to compete while you were training? Like, did the idea ever come, or just like freaking swooped you off your feet type of thing? Like, it just hit you like a lightning bolt. You
Not even. I had a friend of mine. I went to. Was it an expo I went to? I think I went to one of the San Jose Fit Expos. One of the very first San Jose Fit Expos, and obviously, like I appreciate the art form. Yeah. I've always appreciated the art form. I appreciate what you can do with nutrition, how human beings can do certain things. Yeah. So I would go and look at real life action figures walking around. I'm just like mesmerized, but never was I like, I want to get up there and do that. Mm-hmm. As I'm frequenting these expos and these contests, I'm going to all these shows, I start to see the same faces, the same owners of the same brands and the same attendees and things like that. Mm-hmm. Same security guards. Everyone's starting to see the same guys. I started getting asked, hey, when are you competing? Do you get on stage? And I wasn't even flattered. I was just like, not that I was like offended. I just didn't know to be flattered by it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, no, I'm good. You know, I don't do that. Mm-hmm. And so,
did it start feeding into your head a little bit? Like,
not a little bit, but not interested to do it. Mm-hmm. Let me see how I want to tell this story because I want to get it right. Okay. The San Francisco, I want to get the year right. 2013 or 14.
Okay.
I'm standing in the back. standing next to the Cali Muscle booth, talking to Omar Ventura. If you don't know who Omar Ventura is, you should. Mm-hmm. He's an amazing coach. He goes, hey man, he nudges me and he goes, hey man, you're gonna get up there or what? And he would do that from time to time, encouraging me to do that from time to time. He'd always ask me about it. He wouldn't like recruit me, but he would just like encourage me to fulfill my potential.
Mm-hmm. And this is at an expo?
Yeah, at a contest.
Oh, contest.
Chabot College, Hayward, California.
Okay. And you're there just because you're a fan?
Just chilling, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Chilling, man. He goes, you should get up there. And I'm like, you know what, man? I would, I'm like, I would. But, I got a son, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I got a job. I got real shit going on, man. He's pointing to the stage. These guys ain't got what I got. I got real life, homie.
Yeah.
Real life.
Yeah.
And he kind of like giggles. He doesn't even look at me. He's kind of like on his phone or something. He's like, and he finishes what he's doing. He doesn't even reply right away. He finishes what he's doing. He clicks. He closes it, and he points at somebody up there and he goes, "That's my guy right there. He's got 3 kids. That's my guy right there. He's a firefighter. That's my guy." And he starts like riddling down these guys. That's the guy. I don't coach him, but I know his coaching. That guy's got like 4 or 5 responsibilities that are like, will eat your responsibilities alive. Mm-hmm. And he goes, if you're gonna do it, man, do it. But if you're not gonna do it, don't discredit those who do. Kind of in a weird way like that. Checked me.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So it sounds like he checked the crap out of you.
Checked me. Right?
He basically silently said. He basically silently said, "Fuck your excuses."
like for real, like for real. Exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And so, and he like casually just like walked away, like he had something to do.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Oh, hold on," and like walked away. And I'm like sitting there like, damn, like again, internal dialogue, man. Like, what are you gonna do? That's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. You can be in denial, or you can rise to the occasion. Or do you even want to do this? I'm trying to talk to myself.
Yeah.
And right when I'm in the middle of like having this ping pong match in my brain, mm-hmm. I see this kid win this sword. He's holding a sword up now. Like I've been to these shows, but I never really seen someone win a sword, and I don't really see no swords. Right? It's just like.
Also, he just got crowned.
Exactly. But I don't know what this is. I'm like, okay, so clearly he just won something huge, mm-hmm. and everyone is like rejoicing this kid.
Yeah.
But there's like a crowd of these people that are like a team, and they're like applauding this kid. And other people who are competitors who didn't win that same award are just as happy, and he's as happy, and they all got this T-shirt on, and this T-shirt has this logo on, and it says CUTZ, right? And I'm like, okay. Kind of looks like a team. I've been a part of a team before. Mm-hmm. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. Where's the guy who runs the team?
Yeah.
You can tell a lot about a team by who runs that team. Mm-hmm. You can tell a lot about an organization by who's the head of that organization, right? So I'm like, let me see who the boss man is. I'm trying to find the guy with his chest out that's trying to take all the shine. I'm trying to find that so I can figure out how to approach this person. Yeah. Because that kid just did something great. I want to know how he did it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find him. I can't find the guy. I'm like, I'm not a patient person, EJ. I'm just not that guy, dude. I'll sit for a minute, and I'm gonna take matters into my own hands. And if I don't get in trouble, I'll get a result. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm looking. I can't find him. Get up. I'm tapping on. Excuse me. Who's this guy? Who's the cuts guy?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and they're looking for him too. He's right over. I just saw him, and everyone's looking for him. And I'm like, did the guy bounce? Because if he's gonna skate did he leave when everyone's trying to find him? That's not really appropriate. Like, did he leave the show? Like, I'm trying to piece it all together in my head. And I look around and I see, and they go, oh, there he is over there. And he's all the way at this bench, and he's there. He's very apparent. He's very present, mm-hmm. and he's just like sitting there. He's just trying to chilling like this, and he's like watching all of this happen, and he's not even in any bit interested in like being in any photo. He's not trying to like, hey, look what I did. Same way you would stand next to your prized car that you built or anything. He's not trying to take any kind of credit, and I appreciated that. Yeah. The same way I appreciated the gentleman that you had that we spoke about earlier on your podcast.
Yeah.
To me, that his character is what attracted me, let alone his ability to coach a bodybuilder. But I wanted to work with that.
So you say he was just chilling and just kind of just appreciating everything. Absolutely. He wasn't like all over on his phone. He wasn't like yeah.
And I relate to that.
Yeah,
I relate to that because I think human beings a lot of times are more afraid of success than they are failure. Mm-hmm. And I can remember tons of scenarios where I would have done something had I not been afraid internally to succeed at it and to get the attention from that success. You know what I mean? Like, what if I actually win and then I got to be in front of somebody?
Yeah.
That's been a battle for me in life, you know? So I'm seeing this guy, like, that's kind of what I would do if I was a coach and my guy just won the whole show. I probably would be sitting at the bench over there watching this kid be happy about it. I can relate with him in a certain way, and maybe we could do something cool. And so I approached him. And I was like, hey, man, are you the cuts guy?
Yeah.
And he's like, yep. Like damn. You know, like.
You're expecting more, maybe?
No, like he looked like somebody gave him up. Like somebody snitched. Like, who told you where I was at?
Gotcha.
He's like, yeah.
Like, yeah, that's me, man.
Yeah. And I was like, look, man, my name's Anthony. Who's the guy? He's like, oh, yeah, that's my little brother. My little brother just won. I'm like, your brother just won? Your baby bro just won? You're over here.
That was Armand?
Armand.
Shout out to Armand, man. Armand James, man.
Yeah. That's my bro. I love Armand. That's family, man. Blood wouldn't make us no closer. I love that guy. Their whole family. But yeah, that was my Armand one. And so, but I didn't. So I'm like, your kid, bro, just won, and you coached him, and you're chilling. Like, all right, what do I gotta do? And he goes, let me see you. Lift your shirt up, and if any of my cuts bros out there know how he does that, lift your shirt. And I'm looking around like, this first time anybody's ever asked me that. He asks me that every time I see him. But I'm like, so I did, and he goes, all right, I'm gonna text you. Can you text me tomorrow? This is a Saturday. Text me tomorrow. I text him that day, and we've been running ever since.
Dang, that's wild.
Ever since. I check in all the time. We check in like just about every other day.
Damn. But, so you know, well, actually, before we go into a little more of competing, it sounds to me like you really honor humility.
Oh, it's everything.
Yeah.
Everything in my life, I've experienced like motive, a lot of different reasons and a lot of different aspects. Like, you know, people do things for motive. Obviously, everyone has a reason they do things, but a genuine human being in my life is a rarity, but extraordinarily valuable. Yeah. And so anybody that I feel is genuine, thoroughly, right next to my hip. Yeah. Ariel's family, win, lose or draw. If I never win another contest in my life, he's coaching me. Yeah, as long as he wants to. yeah. Please. He's my brother, man. Like I love that dude. And anyone who's never been in the bodybuilding preparation period, or it's strenuous and it's difficult. And if you don't believe in the person that you're getting direction from, you'll deviate. And if you have the connection with the person that's telling you what to do, if he's telling you to eat chicken 24 hours, if he's telling you, I was eating food that I'd never even wanted to eat in my life. I've never been interested in eating this amount of food in my life, but I care about this person and I believe he's giving me the right direction. I don't want to embarrass him because I know how much care he's giving me. We have an emotional connection. I care about this dude.
Of course, you don't want to let him down. Yeah.
Exactly, which is important. But also he believes in me, which is I have an affinity to appreciate that. Yeah, like he's diving into me. He's giving energy into me. Yeah. I'd be doing him an extraordinarily disservice to not give 1,000 back. Yeah, right. Of course, I rock with him. Yeah, I rock with him, and we're doing all right.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. Talk to me about well, actually, going back to humility one more time. Sure. One of the things that, at least for me, I feel like it's not how much money you got. It's not how much work ethic you got. It's not how much you thrive off pressure. To me, what really defines a man, and maybe even a person in general, is their humility, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I really believe in that, dude. You know, there comes a sense of, you know, I think you know who you are if you have a lot of humility, and you're the only one that's able to identify that with other people too.
Sure.
That, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, dude.
You're the man, dude.
Okay, so when you started training, obviously you started competing. It was obviously a different level of training, right, than you're used to, right? I would imagine.
This is the truth. So I've always trained the same.
Okay, gotcha.
I've always trained the same. The exercises I do now, I can remember learning them when I was like 13. Like, I just kind of perfected them throughout the years. You know, I can elaborate more later, but diet changed. Diet changed, and that when I say diet changed, diet completely changed. And so I began to get the most out of the exercises that I began to learn and perfect throughout the 15, 20 years that I've been training. now I'm getting efficient nutrition now. Now I'm getting efficient protein, and I'm working with someone that's looking at how this food is affecting me.
Yeah.
And I'm going hard like I always have gone hard, and he's manipulating my food. It definitely was a big change, but I never stopped training. Like Ariel, he definitely gives me pointers, and he gives me tips, and he gives me suggestions. Try this, try that, and he gives me suggestions. I take them. He's one of the most intelligent human beings I've ever spoken to in my life. However, there's something like I said earlier, like something very personal about the way I train. I train very instinctively. I don't follow a regimen or a plan, or I'm like necessarily like writing anything down. I know those people who do, and there's lots of like benefits to doing that.
Yeah.
But when I'm on stage or any time, but more particularly when I'm in competition prep and I'm on stage, like I built that based on what I felt like building. I didn't like follow anything in terms of exercises.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you walk my audience through, and this is going to be learning from me.
Sure.
So can you describe to me how one develops into becoming a pro, and then how a pro ends up becoming, going on stage to Olympia? Like,
Sure.
what's
Sure.
like the process?
Sure. So initially you'd have to enter a regional show.
Okay.
So usually regional shows are like in, like the local, I guess I can't really say that. You'd enter a regional show,
Yeah.
wherever it would be. Your placing in that regional show would then qualify you to enter a national show.
Okay.
Your placing in a national show would be at first or second, depending on the show. So there's some national shows where you need to win the overall
Okay.
to become a pro. There are some national shows where you would need your first or second. You would just need to win first or second in your given class. So there's different shows that have different requirements that would reward your pro card.
Is it like a point system, or is it's just
No,
more
that's
like your placing?
That's placings.
Okay, gotcha.
Point systems come into play when you turn pro, when you're pro in the pro league.
Okay, gotcha.
So once you become pro, you have a couple of different ways now. They kind of change it from year to year, but a couple of different ways where you can become qualified to enter the Olympia contest. So first of which, the easiest way, or the quickest way, or the simplest way, however you want to put that, is just to win a pro show.
Okay.
All right, one win.
Like win
qualifies you.
overall.
Yeah, just win the show.
Okay, got it.
Then if that's and that doesn't turn out, your options are to compete in various shows. Depending on those placings in those various shows, you would acquire points. Acquisition of those points would then grant you access to the Olympia contest. So it'd be like top 25 in the world, I believe it is, in point system.
How did you feel when you did your first Olympia? What was that experience like? Because for everyone that's out that doesn't know, that Olympia is basically like, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically like the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Of like,
The biggest
competing.
biggest bodybuilding contest on the planet. And so it was, I was shocked. It was, so my first Olympia was my second professional contest. So my first professional, I won my pro card in Chicago 7 days after that contest. Might have been 6 or 7 days after that contest. I was in San Jose, won that show, my first pro show. And then so about 8 weeks, I believe it was 8 weeks after that show, I was in the Olympia. And so I didn't know what to expect. I was completely shocked. I was a fan. I'm a fan of bodybuilding. Far before I'm a competitor, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So you'll never hear me hate on another bodybuilder. I don't believe in that. Just I'm a fan of bodybuilding. It's impossible to hate on something you're a fan of in my mind. If I was a race car driver and I on a drag race and I got my car that I built with my team and somebody pulls up next to me in the lane over and they got something bigger, louder, the paint is shinier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he beats me down the quarter mile, I'm not going to hate on his machine.
Yeah.
I'm going to want him to pop the hood. I want to know what it is.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of racing, right?
Yeah.
So in bodybuilding, I was at Olympia just fanning, like, oh my God, that's Dexter Jackson. Oh my God, that's Phil. Oh my, like I'm fanning. But also it was a minute of like, dude, you did this. Like, holy smokes. Like, it wasn't intentional. I never planned on competing in bodybuilding. I didn't plan on any of that. It was my coach believing in me in a major way, and kind of just wanting to have and having fun in what I'm doing. The only reason why I do it is fun.
Yeah,
it's hard to half-ass something you enjoy, man. It's really hard to bullshit something that you have fun doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What would you say is? I feel like a lot of people, there's a statement that motivation is overrated. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because it's very temporary.
Absolutely.
I always like to compare it to a dopamine shot. You know what I'm saying? It's very temporary. You know, it doesn't last. It doesn't sustain. What motivates someone like yourself to keep on doing what you do, you know, and compete? You know, you've been on stage in the Olympia, what, 3 times, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Where does Anthony find motivation or inspiration to keep him going?
I mean, like, that's like the hardest question for me to answer, but it's also like the easiest one in a weird way too. Because when somebody asks me that, it's almost like my mind is like going in circles. Like, you ever seen a really, really, really hot chick get turned down?
Get turned on?
Turned down.
Turned down.
Like,
really
like
hot.
let me explain it first before you
yeah.
answer. Like, a woman who is, I'm talking stunning, beautiful, like doesn't have to pay for anything, doesn't know what it means to be courteous because she never learned to be courteous. She doesn't have to be nice to no one. I'm talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Ever seen a woman like that approach a man and the guy's like, sorry,
Yeah.
no thank you. No, but no thank you.
Yeah.
To see her just like, I can't compute. I can't, like,
Yeah, they're not used to that.
they don't understand how to comprehend something like that, right?
Yeah. They almost like get anxious almost.
That's how I feel when somebody's like, what motivates you to be a bodybuilder? I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, oh God, like I don't understand, because I understand. Let me explain what I mean by that. Like, let me see the best way to do it. Okay, remember that? I'll kind of go into what we spoke about when I first met you. Imagine you have a father. Say he's about 46, 47, father of 4, beautiful family, a wife, 401k, 55 hours a week, hardworking man, okay, takes care of his family, everything's in order, a lot of responsibilities, okay? But every single Sunday morning, he's on the green with his friends, he's golfing with his buddies, 6 of his friends from college, they all get together. You know, they crack open some beers, got some cigars out there, and they out there doing their thing every Sunday. For years, they do that. Nobody asks him what motivates him to get on the green with his friends. Like, he wants to do that. That's what he enjoys doing, right? Another way I like to understand it is, like, imagine a kid who wants to sit in front of the video game and just play Fortnite, whatever. My sons love Fortnite. He's playing all hours of the night. You might ask him, why do you want to play? But you're asking about interest. You're not asking about motivation, right? You're not going to ask him what motivates him to beat the game. What makes you want to go to the next level, Tommy?
Yeah, gotcha.
No one needs to ask him that. It's very clear how much fun he's having.
Yeah.
Same idea. Same idea. Like, I don't have any real motivation. Like, I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah.
Like, it hurts I'm upset when I can't do that.
Yeah.
I guess the only motivation I got is to not be upset from missing it.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's like what you're saying is, EJ, it's not motivation. It's just, no, it's fun.
1,000. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll even, there's a degree of discipline that comes into it when you add the variable of fatigue. You're competing in something and you're tired. You're eating a certain diet that's limiting your ability to have energy. Things like that. So discipline becomes a factor. However, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then discipline is lessened, man. Like, it's easy to be disciplined to succeed in what you love. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's easy. It's easy. Training every day is the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah. Well, sure, we're about to train right now, so I'm about to see how easy that is. You feel me?
I swear, it's like, me and Ario talked about all the time. Again, one of the reasons why what I do is so important to me is there was one of these contests where I was sitting down with Ario, and we had, it's my second or third show. And we had become getting closer and closer, like in terms of friendship. And I was being open up to him, and I was like, man, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm not swimming against the current. Like, I always felt like I was like swimming against the waves my whole life. And like, I feel like I'm finally like going with the waves. I'm going with the current, and now I call it like it's flow state, right? Like doing the things that you're just following the flow of what your life's supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And when you say you were swimming against the current, that was just you know, going through the struggles of like trying to see who you are, trying to identify yourself.
Yeah, figure out what's right for you, what motivates you, intrinsic motivation or extrinsic, where do you want to be? How do you want to impact the world? Things like that. Those are things that I was trying to figure out really, really early. I was like, dude, I don't want to like negatively impact anybody's life in any way. We're human. And so I just realized really quickly, like if your life is you know, that cement that they lay when they lay those the sidewalk on those new developments. If you ever were lucky enough or saw those new developments where they lay the sidewalk and you were a kid and you get the stick and you write your name, and it's there forever.
Put your print.
Yeah, like I never wanted to like be like a footprint in someone's concrete, man, and be a negative one. You know.
Yeah.
And if you have those of you guys who've negatively impacted someone's life and you have that an ability to have any type of empathy for that, you know, you never want to repeat that. Right. Yeah. So I've always like had a way of just really wanting to take that kind of stuff under consideration.
I get the sense that, you want to inspire people, like you want to impact people's lives. Maybe you may not realize it, but I kind of see it. I see it.
That this is the way I think so too, but in a way, like I don't want it to be like. It doesn't come from an egotistical perspective. Like I don't necessarily believe that I have like something profound to contribute in any way. I don't think I do. However, I think that I've like experienced some things that others have experienced too.
Yeah.
And because of the certain ways that I've been very, very fortunate to A, find something I love very, very, very early in my life. B, have the access to cultivate that throughout my life. I had access to a gym. Yeah. I could have loved the gym, just not being able to train. But there's certain things in my life I was super fortunate to be able to have access to and be privy to. And I've also had real life experiences that everybody else lives through too. And so in that way, I'd like to just let people know that like, you can do any fucking thing you want to do straight up. Like there's no reason why you can't. I did not plan on any of this. It wasn't like I had some vision board and I was like, okay, so by age X, I'm going to be on stage with Jeremy. And then by age this, I'm going to be standing next to like Chiron. What up? Like these are all very, very remarkable things. And I don't take them for granted any moment in my life, but there were no plan. I just found what I wanted to do. And I don't want to hurt. Like I found what I wanted to do. And I just like buried my mind in that. I buried it. Like I became completely obsessed with what I wanted to do. Yeah.
I almost guarantee it that the people who listen to this, they will find some resonation, some relation to you, and they will definitely be inspired.
I appreciate that,
to some extent, for sure.
Oh, they'll be like, he's freaking nuts. And I am bonkers, bro. But I found what I like to do, and I'm no different than anybody else, bro. My pull up looks like your pull up. You know, my bicep curl looks like yours. It's all the same. I just feel like if you can find a way to allow your mind to work for you and not as your enemy, man, you're a leg up. Yeah. You're a leg up. And most of the issues we have are all perceived. Yeah. Most of our obstacles are perceived, man. They're all in your brain.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. But before we end it here, I do want to ask, what are probably some of the biggest lessons you learned in maybe training in general and competing in general?
Oh, training and competing in general. Jeez. Yeah. Oh man, you guys hit me with a bomb. Hit me with a bomb.
Was that a trick question?
No, man, my brain goes like all over the place when you say things like that, man.
Well, I think you're just like me, where I for some reason, maybe it's the day or maybe how I'm feeling, I could answer a question different.
Divergent. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and this is like how I view and anybody who's met me, and like we always talk about this, it's how I truthfully feel. Excuse me. I've never won a show in my entire life. I've never lost a show. I felt like I won the show when I got off the plane. You know, when I landed wherever city I'm competing in, because I built what I wanted to. You know, we'll ask for feedback. Excuse me. We'll ask for feedback, and we'll take certain things under consideration, my coach and I. And I'll go in the gym and we'll train and we'll apply those types of things. But ultimately, I'm building what I want to. Yeah. And if somebody was to say, hey, if I was to get feedback that conflicted with what I wanted to look like 365 days a year, the feedback is null and void. So any advice I would say to anyone looking to compete is do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be yourself 365 days a year. I feel like there's a very, very, very big, there's something to be said for being content with who you are and content with what you're doing. Bodybuilding is very, very, very busy. It's not something you can practice and go home, practice for 2 hours and go home and be a regular person. It's what you do.
Yeah.
My coach has a very, very big influence on what I put in my face.
Mm-hmm.
He has a very big influence on what I've eaten for the last 4.5 years of my life. So my advice would be figure out why you want to do this. Become very intimate with the reasons why you want to pursue, not even bodybuilding, but anything really. If you really want to rise to it, you need to dive in. Be very intimate with your reasoning. Become very, very, very close with your whys, so that when you reach these conflicts and these hiccups, and you will, that you have tons and tons of viable feedback that you've given yourself that can back up your questions. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's awesome.
In terms of bodybuilding, to find a coach that you trust, find a coach that has a personality, and find a person that you want to work with, and hopefully that person is an amazing coach. But you're working with a person, so make sure you know that person.
Yeah, sounds like it's more than a coach. Like you said, it's a bond, it's a friendship.
In my case, I work better that way. My coach is a very, very, very close friend of mine. Mm-hmm. If you're one of those people that would work better like that, I suggest you do that. But if you're kind of more like introverted and you don't need that, mm-hmm. just make sure you do your research and find someone that you can work with. Not necessarily a coach that has guys that look great. Mm-hmm. Find a coach you can work with. Mm-hmm. You might have a coach that has guys that look great. You just can't work with that guy.
Yeah. That makes sense, dude. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, brother.
I appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, do us a favor for anyone that wants to reach out to you. What's the best way to get in contact with you?
All right, you can follow me on Instagram at ant_woods. That's ANT_WOODZ. That's about it.
Yeah. If you guys could do me a favor, if you guys are listening and watching this legendary episode, do us a favor. Let me and Ant know that you're watching by tagging us, taking a screenshot, tagging us, and letting us know that you're watching. I got to have my man sign the infamous canvas over here.
Oh, man, I'm excited.
And if you guys can, like always, I do ask, if you feel this episode can inspire someone else, please share it with them. Also, if you guys could leave a rating and write a review on the Apple Podcast, that really helps with visibility. Again, the goal here is to really send a strong message and to hopefully inspire someone, and hopefully a little entertainment too,
Yeah.
But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Parables Podcast with Anthony Woods. We're about to
Appreciate
go train right now.
Oh, it's going all the way down.
Hey, be easy on me, all right?
Never. It's going to be a bloodbath.
I appreciate you, brother. Parables Podcast, we out of here.